Oracle Networking, there are two utilities to configure listener and TNS service. Under Open Networking we have two things. One, we need to configure listener at server side and TNS service at client side so that he can use this to log into the server. To do this, Oracle provided these two service utilities called NetMGR, which is Network Manager, NetCA, which is Network Configuration Assistant. We use NetManager, which has more features compared to NetCA, because this is the job of DBA 100%. So we can use anything on the terminal, or we can use VNC viewer or terminal. So we will do it from real-time perspective. I'm shutting down the database. I'm stopping the listener. This is the folder for networking products. So we will create rm star dot ora. So we removed listener and this thing, everything. So now to use, because in real time we don't have access to terminal, so to run any graphic GUI utility like NetMGR, if you open this here, you can use it. Like you can start NetCA or NetMGR from inside this. This is NetCA. We can create local net service using this only, or we can configure a default listener. Okay, now same thing, NetMGR. We can use this. We can use this for both configuring a listener and service names. Okay, we deleted the file, so here we have nothing right now. But if we want to use from outside in real time we will be sitting on a machine which is far away from the system. We can't come log into this one. For that we use VNC server concept. We just start VNC server at server and give one password. It is temporary for that time only. It will start it by default on port number 1. This is our machine name, m1.dba.com colon port number 1. So we can use either machine name, or we can use this m1 is our machine name, or we can use our IP address, which is 192.168.2. So we use this to log into this particular thing from outside, and which is VNC server. We use 192.168.228.2 colon 1. We'll connect to this. So the password which we gave, this will open a VNC session. Here we can call those utilities even though we are outside. Okay, now network default location for listener.r files will be Oracle Home Network Admin. We can go to this folder whenever we want. Here cd, it is still, we came into this folder. Here it will be created, those files will be contents of listener.ora. This listener.ora contains one in basic minimum information is this one required. This means listener name. The listener name is listener. It can be anything, we can change it. The description of this is protocol used is TCP. Host name is my machine name at Windows level. This can be our m1.dba.com. Which one? Host name m1.dba.com, or it can be IP address of this machine. Here we can use both. This is enough. It will start and running. Listener will be running. Okay, with this much. And but in default, we don't have any listener. If we create a listener.ora with this much is enough to start a listener. Like, but LSNR CTL status, we don't have a listener right now, but we can start LSNR CTL start. It started. Still we don't have a file. it started a default listener with no database information. It is not logged into any database. It is not registered. No database is registered with it. Database registration is of two types. One is static registration, one is dynamic registration. So what happens here right now, we have a DB called prod, but it is not registered. It is not showing here in the services part, this area, because it is still down. It is not registered with it. But what happens? Pmon, when a Pmon periodically wakes up, it is in sleep condition, it wakes up and it will registers the database with this particular. We can check this few times. It may register after some time whenever it wakes up. Even though we do, or maybe it's down, maybe we can say startup. Our database is up and running. Okay, it is registered. The prod database is registered. This is called dynamic registration. We don't have a listener file. It is not linked to this one. I can say lsnr ctl stop. It is not working. Now I can start it. So again, it is not showing. Similarly, just now we started pmon, so it registered with it. Even though we don't start it, it will we have one more command, reload. It should register after some time. Periodically it will, pmon will wake up and it will register. This is called static registration. Dynamic registration, if we just create listener, this is the job. Otherwise, even though there is one more thing, that when you register a particular database, it will create this entry in the listener file. What this contains: seed list listener. It can mean a SID list actually. Global DB name is DB name, and also the home and also the seed name we have to mention here. This is the basic part of any listener file. When we create a listener file and also we register with it a particular database. Now here I will try to create, using netmgr, I will try to create a listener with default name. Default listener means its name should be listener. We should not give any other name. And one more thing, default listener means its name should be listener and its protocol should be TCP/IP and it should be running on 1521 port. These three is there: name, listener, port, protocol. If these are there, it is called default listener. Now I'm using the same name, add our host name. We can use IP address also here. This is enough. It created a listener. I'm just saving it. If you notice, it created a listener.aura file. If you see the structure, what we mentioned just now, this part, it used listener, its name is listener, TCP protocol, host name is this one, port number is this one. It created. This is the base listener, base of listener, which is same like any other file. So now the previous listener is working already and it registered dynamically. Now that pmon registered now this one. Stop. Now if I start again, it will start static registration from listener.file. Still it doesn't register the database because we didn't mention. If you keep on checking lsnr, it will be checking and it will pmon will register the database which is up and running. Instead of that, we can make it permanent registration called static registration. We can add a database to it. Our database name is prod. Global database name can be different. We are using prod. This is our Oracle home and seed name is prod. I save this. Now we will stop this. Okay, cat lir. That static registration part will be added. So this is the previous data which we have until here. Now we added this database. Its name, global database name is prod, seed name is prod, Oracle home is our current home. will be this much information will be added. With this, what happens? We will say now LSNR CTL start. It will start the listener and also registers our database. If you notice, immediately it registered prod. Done. So now you can use it without any problem. Now we can service. From client side, if you want to connect to the database, we need a TNS entry that is called service name. It's service name to prod. We can mention I'm going to connect to prod. So to prod. TCP/IP is the protocol because we use the same in listener. Host name m1.dpa.com. Port 1521. SID name, this service name here, SID name, it is prod. Now it is done. Save it. And this is saved. If you notice here, one more file tnsname.oracle. See the contents. It contains two prod. Our this one. Protocol is TCP. Host name is this one. Port number is this one. Service name called prod. Is our SID name is prod. When this much is there, you can say, which is already started. We just say TNS ping to prod to make sure it is working perfectly. If we get this message, because it is showing everything what it used to check this, and host name is this, protocol is this, and service name is prod and port 1521. It shows okay with 0 milliseconds. This is it means it's working fine. This is the way we test it whether it is working or not. Okay, TNS names or our syntax is this one same. Under listener, we have few commands to manage this listener utility to start and stop. To check LSNR CTL status, it is working, and prod is the instance service which is registered statically, or if after some time it is dynamically also. If already we added, when listener is up and running, we added a new service or a new database registered with it or something, then we can say LSNR CTL reload. It will reloads without any issue. Now we can check again status, and if you want to stop it, LSNR CTL stop, it will stop the, to start it, start. These things we can do in there is one more command, LSNR CTL services. It shows the services, means more details about a particular service. Prod instance is connecting, instance name prod, it is dedicated local server, but all other information it is given. It is unknown because nobody is connected to that one or still not used, but it is there. There is one more way. We can just say start LSNR CTL. It will log into a LSNR utility like any other Oracle utility. Here I can say status. It will show the status. I can say stop. It will stop. I can say start. It will start. I can say status again. It is working fine. Now I can say reload. It will reload. I can say stop. I can say exit. These are the things we can do. But again, if I want LSNR CTL start, so it is working fine. Make sure TNS ping to prod. Okay, it is mean it's working fine. These many listener commands. To at OS level to check listener is working or no, ps-ef grep TNS. So this part, this one is the one which is working. Listener, this is the name is listener. Where it is, you Oracle product dp1 bin TNS LSNR is the folder where this listener is working. Its name is listener. Testing is TNS ping service name. In a week tested TNS ping prod. The second part, some of the two most in one of the important concepts, TNS admin and two task. Here TNS admin is, it is simple, but two task is very important for Oracle apps use. TNS admins changing default location of listener and TNS name files. Suppose whenever you say this is the folder default location of our listener files, listener and TNS files, listener.ora SQL. There is one more file will come based on requirement. If we do some settings related to this profile, if we do something here, there is one more file will come that is called SQLnet.ora. It is not here right now, but if these two are important, like listener.ora and tnsnames.ora, these two are working fine now. Now the requirement is Oracle will look for these files in this default folder called Oracle Home until here, then network and admin. It will look for those files here. Okay, now listener is up and running, so we can stop. Now what happens if we want to use some other folder, like I will go to u01. There may be a requirement in real time, say like here I can say mkdir ls, one folder lsnr, our folder name lsnr, it is here. We can check them only directories ls minus ld, it will show the folders. Leave it, it's lsnr is our folder. We'll go to lsnr folder. Okay, lsnr is our folder, this one. So in the, if you want to use cd lsnr, use u01 lsnr instead of Oracle Home Network Admin. If you want to use this folder for Oracle to look for default files called listener.ora and tnsnames.ora, we can set the parameter called tns admin. Okay, for that purpose what we can do right now, changing the default location of listener and tnsname files. First stop the listener stopped. Now export this parameter, export tns underscore admin is equal to u01 lsnr. It is exported, echo dollar tns, it is showing this one. Now we go to this our old folder, default folder. Now all our files are here. Now we move them to this folder, like move. I think we'll check this also. I didn't check previously this one whether it works, tns name work or not. Listener, it sure it works. Now the system looks for, because we already set, still that parameter value is there, it is this one. Now we'll show u01 tns admin. If you check this, it will show u01 lsnr in our case. Now it started and registered, means it started from this new location. How I'm now listener, this is the place, it's using this file now, right now. This is the advantage of using that one. SQL plus sys manager at 2 prod as sysdb, it is also working. tns names also working because I use 2 prod, and 2 prod where it is there, it is in our 2 prod word is mentioned here. It is not there in default location, because if now here suppose lsnrctl stop. Okay, now what happens, echo this is the folder. Now if I say echo nothing, it's not changing. How unset, I think unset, yeah, unset is the command. It now it is null. Now if I say lsnrctl start, it started, but this is default listener, this is not listener log file, it is default listener, it has nothing to do with our listener, because no service registered. Registration will happen later. Now if I say sql plus sys manager at 2 prod, because toprod is not there in DBS as is DBA. It will throw an error because it's not there. So that is a problem. Now I will say this move star.ora to Oracle home network admin. Nothing is there. CD files came here. LSNR CTL. It started default listener. It may have registered because after some time pmon will register dynamically. LSNR CTL stop. Now if I say LSNR CTL start, it will start from our particular folder. This is the one, our listener file, and it registers immediately because it is statically registered. Now I can say SQL plus sys manager at 2prod as sysdb. It will connect without any problem. Now another major, very important from the point of Oracle apps, a parameter called toTask. Totask means, suppose as I just now as I use SQL plus sys, or I can say Scott Tiger. In real time, I can't just say this much. Here it will connect because my database is in the same machine. In real time, I need to say Scott Tiger at 2prod. Where is my database? Because it is not in the local machine. There it will go like this. So here two, it is something wrong. Okay, LSNR CTL status TNS pin 2prod should work. SQL, yeah, it's working. So now this third part, this toprod, this third part, if you don't want, every time if you want to use this, it's headache. If you don't want to use this third part, there is a way to create a toTask. If you create a variable with value toTask to set the TNS service alias one time, every time we don't want, we can, every time we don't want to use, we can use toTask environment variable. The value is, it will be, suppose echo a dollar toTask, nothing is there, export toTask is equal to, our TNS service name is toprod. It is toprod. If I say SQL plus Scott Tiger, it will log in. Here we can't see because we are in the local machine, but it will work even after setting the toTask environment variable. We can do the following: SQL plus username password, SQL plus system manager. It will log in. It will take no need of giving it. Now here we can log in to any user just mentioning username and password without the third one which is there in the memory of our. So this is the way. So to if you can set any particular variable, we can check any environment variable whether it is set or no with this command env pipe symbol grep toTask. It shows value, it's a value and it's both. We can set a, suppose if they, to check it, we can check some variable like dual case. We give value of 1, export dual case. We just say dual case is equal to 1 and export dual case. It set the value. Now if you check it, it will show like this. In the similar way, it shows here toTask. It will show us instead of toTask, we have another like TNS admin which is unset, so it is not there. To remove some value which is set, the command is unset. So with this, this part is over. You can check.